Hey everybody. So I'm sure some of you may have heard that Brian's parents went for a little stroll, I believe yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. The very first day, the Micahachie, whatever you want to call it, I can't really say it good, so bear with me. Micahachie, it was open to the public. So, the Laundrie family was like, oh, let's go for a little stroll now that it's open for the public, right? Well, guess what, guys? Guess what happened on their lovely stroll? According to what I'm hearing now this is changing by the minute, so please just, bear with me. They found some of Brian Laundrie's clothes. Okay? Now, the coroner is on its way to. Now, I wouldn't believe any of this, okay? I was like, yeah, okay, isn't that ironic? The parents go for a walk, and then they find Brian's clothes when these people have been out here for how long searching for anything? This doesn't sound right. And then they said the coroner is on the way, and I was like, maybe this is something, right? Now, normally, I don't like to jump on these things lately every time there's a Brian sighting, every time there's a Brian this, Brian that. I try to veer away from that, but because the coroner is on the way, and there's lots of police presence, whatever, I find that this is very important. So what I'm going to do is, I know all along we have been watching this together. We have been absorbing this together. We have been doing this together. So it's only right. Now, hopefully, I can still make my 1:30 stream that I have scheduled here with Chris Conflict, right? About Chris Rock. Dave Chappelle. Sorry, I don't know why I just said Chris. Dave Chappelle and Netflix. But this is my story. This Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito thing, I can't abandon it for anything else, So I'm sorry, Craze Conflict. We might have to reschedule till later. I hope that's okay with you. Anyways, I'm going to put WFLA on you guys and see what's going on, okay? Thanks for showing.
Also, you'll see tonight on WFLA News Channel 8 is basically the announcement that was just made to the newsroom.
Yep, I'm on at 4, 5, and 6. Yep.
Yep. So, and I want to make this clear that this is yesterday in particular. I remember going through. I make the rounds as far as just seeing what people are saying on the Gabby Petito subreddit. I make the rounds. I check in with my friends over at the Discord. Gabby, I try to be, WFLA now, as far as just how we bring in your comments on social media and how we pay very close attention to what people are saying on social media. That's not exclusive to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube. We want to comb through all of them. And there's really 7 platforms. I know it sounds crazy, but I do try to make the rounds on these 7 platforms. Let's see if I can remember them. It's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, Reddit, and TikTok. Those are the 7. And I'm always checking to see what people are saying and what the chatter is like out there. And also, too, it helps me. I'm more informed of a digital anchor if I can address some of the questions that are out there. People are asking things. I want to be able to talk about them on our stream. Our stream is more valuable to you if I.
Oh, JB. These people have been ranting about what's going on now. I turn it on and, we're going to talk about how valuable the viewers are and blah, blah, blah. Listen. I think, okay, here we go. Easy, I think his parents paid someone to plant this stuff. I mean, they were there, right? His parents were there. Now, I'm literally just finding out all about this, guys, like you are. I'm not ahead of you. I'm in this live here with you guys. But so I saw somebody Bad Art Changing say it was articles, not articles of clothing. I heard articles of clothing, but you're probably right. This is all just new, right? So now what's the really big deal right now, guys, is the coroner's on the way, right? That's what has my attention. So the park opened yesterday and his parents went for a stroll and they just so happened to find Brian's clothes. I mean, that's weird. I laughed at that notion until I realized the coroner was on the way and I said, "Ooh, we better look into this." So let me see if JB's actually talking about anything important at this point.
I'm more knowledgeable as to what you're saying out there. And I make these rounds, and more than at any point, I would say,
Don't know why the medical examiner was called. Again, we don't know, one, if in fact human remains were found. We know that the Pasco County Human Remains Detection Dog was at the scene today, and we know that the Sarasota County Medical Examiner's office was called to the scene after that by Northport PD. So you can make any conclusions that you would like to there. We're not going to get ahead of law enforcement on any of that. But yeah, this day, October 20th, is definitely going to be significant regardless of what happens with the Sarasota County Medical Examiner being on that scene, because this is the day that some articles belonging to Brian Laundrie were found. We've been, the whole country has been looking for Brian Laundrie. Multiple law enforcement agencies, multiple states, multiple days, searching for this 23-year-old fugitive. And here we are. Today is the first time that there was a sign of him. If you're gonna, not from law enforcement, but according to the attorney, today is the first day that there was a sign of Brian Laundrie. The attorney saying some articles belonging to Brian were found at a trail after a brief search, a search that his parents initiated this morning and that law enforcement was a part of. So October 20th is another significant day in this investigation, JB.
Do you have a better vantage point from your seat where you're sitting? Do you see, is Walt in his office?
He is not.
Okay. There's a question that really only Walt can answer, and I'll try to see if maybe, again, Walt Petito, one of our investigators here on the 8 on Your Side team, when he's back, the question that came in from Katie, and other questions like Katie's, I will answer that.
What is the question?
All right, I'll just throw it. I'll throw it up here on screen. So there was a psychic that.
Oh, I know about this.
Okay, there was a psychic
that was on Monday.
Right, but then I ran into Walt yesterday as we were, and he actually said that no, technically it was Tuesday, but I can't ignore all of the comments that are coming through about and this goes back to some of our earliest streams on WFLA Now, and there was a psychic who had
I have that email,
and Walt had mentioned on stream, and he mentioned it, that there was that 28 days afterwards that Brian Laundrie was going to be, and I think that would have been either, depending on the time frame, that would have been either Monday night or into Tuesday morning. And so I just want to address it. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that are asking this question, and I just want to address it. So today is Wednesday, October 20th. Mm-hmm. And I believe that original piece of information, that person came through and informed Walt that it would be late Monday or early Tuesday based on that 24-hour window, and it would be near a body of water, which actually interesting to me here. First of all, to say that in Florida, there's bodies of water all over the place. There's a town in Florida called Land O'Lakes. That's how many bodies of water that we have here in Florida. But just on that note here for 1 second, the water has receded so considerably here that I haven't seen much water in this one particular spot from Eagle 8 HD, and we hope to get Eagle back in the air. The water has receded so significantly. The rainfall has been so less frequent across the month of October than we had in September, and that I'm sure has been advantageous for law enforcement officials searching this area.
Yeah, and I'm going to briefly address the psychic comment before completely moving past it.
Yeah,
but
since
people are bringing it up, Walt did tell me about this, and he said that the message was sent to him on September 21st. So he said that the discovery would have been made on the 18th or the 19th. So now's the 20th. So the psychic isn't even right, and we can just move on.
Yeah,
from that.
And that's and we can move on to some of the questions and comments that are coming in. Okay, let's get to this one. Right on to you, Marianne Bal, #HeyJB, #HeyMasa. It hasn't rained in a couple of weeks, and a lot of the water is gone. And that's, now folks in Florida that know, that know, and they just know because they have a green thumb, you can even look here at at some of the grass, and you can just see the coloration of the grass, and it's very clear here, even from me, and I don't have a green thumb, that here in Florida, it hasn't rained much in this area, just based on what we're seeing here from this particular vantage point. And it's true. We just haven't had that significant rainfall here in the month of October. And this is good. This is good for the search, because the more swampy and wet that it is, there's more vehicles here that are arriving here and clearly checking in with law enforcement there.
And that is a protester. I recognize that man. That is the protester that has spoken with Cassie Laundrie. So the two people that you're seeing that are filming everything, these are two people that have been very closely following the case, basically on the scene nearly every day.
Volunteer member of law enforcement pulling up here to the scene as well. And yes, Marianne, you're right on the money. Hasn't rained in a while, and if it has, it's been virtually non-existent. It's just been really a passing shower. There hasn't been significant rainfall totals, and this aids the search for Brian Laundrie without question. CN, oh yeah, do you want to mention something?
I just want to mention, you know, the fact that law enforcement yesterday on October 19th determined that they were going to open the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, the fact that they determined they were going to open this back up to the public, I mean, that is huge, because obviously they thought that they were done with that scene. They wanted to let everybody from the public back in. They would have access to that scene. To find out the very next day that all of these developments are happening, that some articles of Brian were found at that exact scene, that's just interesting, because I don't think, obviously, they were going to open up this scene to the public as they did yesterday, had they known that articles belonging to Brian were still at that scene. And those articles being discovered this morning after a brief search by the Laundrie parents, according to the Laundrie family attorney, during a brief search.
Let's get to that next comment here. We'll keep this shot up, because we're seeing considerable law enforcement activity here. So let's keep it up in the center of our screen, live on WFLA Now. Again, 8 on your side, investigator Masa Saidi, pulling a little bit of overtime here with us on WFLA Now. I'm JB Buno, digital anchor for WFLA Now, and we'll continue.
So guys, if you're just joining us,
your comments here using
it's a little
AJB
weird, don't you think?
and
Isn't it ironic?
Masa, hey Masa,
don't you think that the Laundrie family goes for a little stroll with law enforcement, and lo and behold,
to steal their vehicle?
there are some of Brian's articles. I said clothing earlier. I don't know if it's clothing. It's just articles. What the articles are, I don't know. Now the coroner's on the way. Is the coroner going to get Brian? I don't know. That's what we're waiting to see. This is so weird.
Why don't we focus on the question?
So weird, you guys. All right, I just want to give you a quick little tidbit, but how weird is this? I don't believe it. I'm sorry. What are the freaking odds that his parents go for a walk? I mean, this is too weird. This is just too weird. You know, after all the time, energy, effort these people have put in, and now, oh, mommy goes by, because that's the only thing that changed, because the dad's already been there, right? I don't know, man. It's strange. But I am waiting. And the and the lawyer is the one that leaked this information. I heard. Like I said, I'm jumping in all of this like mid hair. Yes, I have a new mic. Can you hear me better? I was waiting for someone to notice it. I didn't even say nothing. I'm like, I want to see if they can tell.
Work there was done. Because
I was in the middle of I didn't even take my pins out of my hair. Like, guys, I jumped on here with the pinned up hair. Anyways, let's see what they're saying over there. Yeah, let me know if you like my new mic.
Just hours later.
And to the second part of this comment, there's no indication right now. There's no evidence that we know of in an official capacity that Brian Laundrie has committed a violent act, and to suggest that he would then commit a second violent act, there's just so many people out there that I understand that you have your beliefs, but you have to also do your very best.
I see what she's saying now. I am so
we have
slow.
We have to encourage people to stay, as I say it, rooted in reality here. And we understand how easy it is with a story like this to connect dots. And connecting dots is an easy thing to do, because sometimes it can feel so blatantly obvious. but we have to go on based on what we know from credible sources of information. Right now, Brian Laundrie is a person of interest in her homicide, hasn't been named as a suspect.
Yeah,
we
I'd
do
like to
not
say
have
in the
any
case, not in the homicide. Yeah,
right.
just a person of interest.
Just a person of interest.
Because they made that announcement when she was just a missing person. So he is just a person of interest in the Gabby Petito investigation, and he is wanted for bank card fraud. People get very upset every time I say that, you know, but that is what the facts are. And again, we are not going to get ahead of law enforcement and make any other.
He is a person of interest in an FBI-led criminal investigation.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
And we understand how easy it is to jump to various conclusions and jump to even conclusions beyond that that are not rooted in reality, that are
this is a conclusion that is not even obvious, right?
and it's not to come down on the commenter in any which way, shape, or form. It's just it's an opportunity for us to remind you that you have to stay rooted in reality. Jacqueline Neely, #HeyJB, possibility of the parents being involved with planting clothing or personal belongings of Brian. This is there's just too many comments like this one. We can't ignore this comment. There are people on social media that are wondering if there was any chance that the belongings, the articles that were discovered here weren't just discovered, that they were put there with nefarious intention. And there's no evidence to suggest that. And I know that there's going to be endless conspiracy theories online. Yes, the park was open yesterday. Yes, the park was open this morning. Yes, Chris and Roberta Laundrie were back here at the reserve. We know how difficult, or excuse me, rather easy it is to connect those dots, but it doesn't mean that you should. And we know that this question is out there. What's within the realm of possible? So much is within the realm of possible. But to Jacqueline, you're not the only one asking this question. I appreciate the fact that you've asked it, but it's just not something that we can really address because there's just no information here that we can use to properly answer it.
I can say this. I can say that law enforcement, that Chris and Roberta Laundrie notified law enforcement they were going to go back out to the scene, and the FBI and Northport PD, they were with Chris and Roberta Laundrie as they did their, quote, brief search, and that's when the articles were found. That's all we can say. Those are the facts.
Facts of the case. Nicole Capozzo, #HeyJB, maybe Brian was injured and they found evidence of that. Is there a chance that there was something discovered that leads law enforcement to think that Brian was in that spot, injured? We know
Brian apparently was in this area. According to the text from the attorney, they found articles belonging to him. And that is, I would say, as of right now, that is the most significant thing about this date, October 20th.
We don't know the date of when these articles were discarded or dropped, or is there the chance that those articles, as Stephen Bertolino puts it, were from a hiking trip well before July?
Sure could be, based on his text. It sure could be.
Yep.
That's a fact.
And now all of a sudden,
we don't know the time frame.
Could Brian Laundrie have been here in the spring, dropped something or dropped some things, because we know it's plural, articles, and now with the water receding as much as it has, could these items have now been discovered? Sure, all within the realm of possible, but we just don't know. We are going by one statement released by one attorney,
a detailed statement,
detailed, but representing the Laundrie family, and so it's just not from law enforcement. And until we have information from law enforcement, we have to always preface this by saying that
I know what it's like to try to fill airtime and just to talk, because I do it all the time. But JB, all right, relax, dude. Just when I start to like JB, he gets repetitive on me, and I'm like, nah. Anyways, guys, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this nonsense? Where did Kim's comment go? Hold on. I want to see Kim's comment again, because it did make me laugh. So Kim says, if you're just joining us, the Dirty Laundries hired a psychic and miraculously found items belonging to Brian after a brief search. And all this was released by the lawyer, not the police. Yeah. I don't think the psychic had anything to do with the parents. At least I don't think so anyways. But yeah, that sounds about right. They miraculously found articles. How crazy is that? That they go for a walk with law enforcement and find article. Like boom, just yesterday, right? Was this now this is what I'm confused on. That happened yesterday, right? And then the lawyer leaked it today. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. The psychic thing was wrong anyways. In the beginning, we just figured out it didn't add up, but somebody told Walt Buteau, a psychic, said in 28 days, you guys will find Brian Laundrie. And they were like, oh my God, it's been 28 days. But Walt Buteau went back and looked, and I guess it like didn't add up to the 28 days. So the park was open yesterday to the public, and the parents said to themselves, let's go for a handy dandy walk in the park now that it's open to the public. And they did. But somebody said that law enforcement was with them. But I thought the park was open to the public. So I don't know which way it went. Maybe they all went together, met there. I don't know. But they found his articles. What are the articles? We still haven't found out what the articles are. The coroner has to be there by now, you would think. We've been waiting. There's definitely must be a body there. Yes, there must be a body because a coroner don't just show up to hang out. You know what I'm saying? Something's up. So let's see if they're saying anything new. But I'm glad my mic sounds better. I listened back to a couple of my recent streams, and I'm like, I sound so far away, you know, but I busted out the mic. I've had this mic. That's the sad part. I just never use it.
This information is coming from Steve.
That Chris and Roberta come out to the scene today after a quote brief search, make this discovery now. And maybe it's what JB just said. Maybe the water has receded. Maybe this is an area that was covered by the water before. We just don't know. But certainly that is one possible explanation into why are we just now, according to the Laundrie family attorney, finding quote articles belonging to Brian when this is an area that has been searched over and over again from above, from below, by multiple law enforcement agencies. And maybe it is the weather, the water receding. Who knows?
Let's get to this question from Brooke. Brooke Vance, hashtag AJB, hashtag AMASA. Could Brian's parents have put the stuff there that they found? Yeah, so we just addressed it in the previous comment. Let's get to Lisa White, hashtag AJB, hashtag AMASA. Could this area been underwater when they originally started the search? Yeah, I think that we're starting to see some a similar thread and pattern of questions here.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to cancel my 1:30 stream about Dave Chappelle and Netflix. Crazy conflict, I'm sorry. Hopefully we can either do this later or tomorrow whenever it's convenient for you. I'm just highly invested in this story, and it wouldn't be right to abandon this breaking news and to do that as much as I want to talk about Dave Chappelle. So, guys, I'm going to take a moment to just play I'm going to let this play in the background while I go cancel my other stream for now. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm going to let this play, though, till I come back.
Here.
Yep.
Jonathan Aker, hashtag AJB. Can you confirm if the Laundries have been called back to the reserve as reported elsewhere? Masa, you want to?
Yeah, so actually I am. I don't want to give too much information because of my source, but there is, people outside the scene told me that Roberta has, come out dressed up. So she is still at the house, according to one source that I have at the scene.
Okay,
right now.
so
she's at the house. Right
yeah,
now,
but to the question here, been called back to the reserve as reported elsewhere.
I don't know where that. I mean, Jonathan, if you could tell us, who is reporting that and who they are attributing it.
And we don't know if Jonathan's comment here was pertaining to when we originally said that they were back at the reserve as of
this morning.
That was them coming back. So that's what this commenter might be referencing.
And they weren't called. And so this morning they weren't called back out to the reserve. This morning they went to the reserve, and they had notified law enforcement last night that they wanted to go back to not the reserve, the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. So I think what he was asking is, were they called there? And our clarification for you is, according to the Laundrie family attorney, they wanted to go back there. And that's when they made their discovery of the articles belonging to Brian. And then after that is when the medical examiner's office was called by Northport PD.
Checking in on just some, let's show you back here. No new vehicle activity. But again, if you're just joining us, the medical examiner has been called to the laundry search area. And we say has been called to the laundry search area. Masa, perhaps it's worth, just checking in to see with the same law enforcement that gave us that information previously, if the medical examiner has arrived here on the scene. And as right on cue, it feels like every time I go to this shot, another vehicle pulls through,
Right.
and we see all these vehicles pulling through. Any one of these could be workers or a worker or the medical examiner for Sarasota County. So we don't, as I mentioned earlier, it's not all that too normal for there to be an official marked medical examiner's vehicle with a particular medical examiner's office. A lot of the time they do transportation in unmarked vehicles. So it is entirely possible that the medical examiner is already here at the scene. Sarasota County isn't that large. We've been talking about this piece of information now for the last hour plus. And
you know what's kind of very significant, though? The fact that they just keep coming in. Just vehicle after vehicle.
And the Lee County Mobile Command Unit was strange.
I'm not exactly, how far away is Lee County?
Let's get an idea as to like mileage here. I'm going to give everybody a mileage count.
It could be that they just have a nice spacious mobile command center. I mean, who knows? But the fact that we have agencies from surrounding areas all coming back out today to the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Just hours after law enforcement determined, hey, we're done here, this can open back up to the public, it closed again. Because Chris and Roberta Laundrie decided they wanted to come back out and look for Brian this morning, and they did. And they were joined by the FBI and Northport PD, according to Stephen Bertolino. So that's just extremely significant to me. And the fact that we are just seeing agency after agency arriving to the scene. Are they going there because, we know that articles belonging to Brian were found, but was something else found as well? That's the question. That's the question we have based on the fact that the Pasco County has sent one canine capable of detecting human remains, and the Sarasota County Medical Examiner's Office has been called to the scene. So that is the natural question that we have next.
All right, looking here at some new information coming in, and it's pertaining to. Okay, hold on. I'll get to the new information in just a second. Let me just explain. It's not breaking information. It's just new information about Eagle.
Okay.
So let me just explain the county map, so to speak. So Sarasota County, of course, on the Gulf Coast side of Florida, Central Florida, but the west side, Gulf Coast side of Florida. So it goes Sarasota County. To the south of that is Charlotte County. One more county down is Lee County. Now, Lee County has Fort Myers in it. That's where Fort Myers is located. It's about from Fort Myers, about an hour drive. Let's say an hour drive from Fort Myers to Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. So it would be about an hour for you to get that mobile, and it's actually like 55 minutes. But given that you're hauling a massive mobile command unit, that's not as quick as the average vehicle. I would say we'll just say an hour to get from Lee County to Myakkahatchee. And let me explain why Lee County was likely brought in over, let's say, a different county such as Charlotte County or Glades County or DeSoto County. The reason being is because certain sheriff's offices and certain law enforcement agencies in Florida have more resources and they are more equipped for a scenario like this. And Lee County being a more populated county than some of the others I just mentioned, it is very likely that they reached out to Lee County specifically because they knew that they had a mobile command unit that was equipped to handle a scene like this. So that's why, but we also had, there's multiple command units there
Right
at the scene. Okay, back to the Eagle 8 HD update. Adrienne, Elizabeth, #AJB. Any word on Eagle 8 HD and when he'll be back in the air? We have been told, and let me just have this 100% right with Eagle. Eagle is refueling right now, and Eagle 8 HD will be back up at 2:30 Eastern time.
Okay.
2:30 Eastern.
We're really going to appreciate having that vantage point from the air again, but I'm getting some tweets right now asking us to recap just the very basics of what has happened today. October 19th, yesterday, the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park reopened back up to the public after being closed down for nearly a month as multiple agencies searched for fugitive Brian Laundrie. Chris and Roberta Laundrie last night apparently notified law enforcement that they wanted to go back out and to look for Brian today. And that is why we saw a large law enforcement presence back at the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. Our Allison Henning showing up to the scene, just being confused as to why it was closed down again. The attorney then confirming to me, the Laundrie family attorney, that some articles belonging to Brian were found after a brief search. And then after that, we learned that the medical examiner's office has been called out by Northport police. And we saw, I don't know when at this point, but an hour ago, more than an hour ago, we saw this white tent being placed. And it's unclear as to why that tent has been placed, whether that's part of a command center or whether that has been placed to, because there's evidence was recovered nearby. But I just had a thought, JB. I think the fact that there was, didn't we see multiple tables? The fact that we saw tables and
I think it was at least one table.
Okay.
One table.
I feel like if this was evidence underneath that tent that they wouldn't roll a table into it, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But again, significant developments. That's what we have seen. And October 20th is the day that, according to today, Laundrie family attorney, that articles belonging to Brian were found. And this is really the first sign we've had. I mean, it feels like Brian Laundrie just vanished, disappeared, according to his parents, on September 13th. And despite the fact that the entire country has been looking for him, there has been no sign of Brian Laundrie. And here today, just a few hours ago, I was able to confirm that articles belonging to Brian were found. So significant.
Significant to say the least. We are very much looking forward. This is looped video, clearly, but very much looking forward to having Eagle 8 HD back in the air. It will be around 2:30.
All right, so we are
about
waiting, just waiting.
15 minutes or
waiting.
from now. If we have any updates,
yeah.
we'll, of course, if we can
It's
get
really
Eagle 8
ironic.
HD back up to the
I
air
think,
sooner,
and I think everybody
we'll
thinks at this
absolutely do
point,
so. And
I don't
there's
know
a
if
lot
there's
of folks
anyone
out
that
there
actually
are
believes it. Does
looking
anybody
for fresh
actually
aerials.
believe?
Believe
And don't be
me,
afraid to
I'm
voice
looking
your opinion.
for fresh aerials,
That
wanting to see exactly
Brian's
what is going on
parents
right
in
now
the law enforcement,
on the
they just
ground.
happenstance. It was
amount
just
of activity that
serendipity,
is
man.
going
They were
on
just
here,
out there and they were
it's,
like, La ti da, the
yeah,
park's open.
it's
Oh look,
gonna be
there's Brian's
fascinating
stuff.
to see
Guys,
where that
look,
Lee
there
County
it
Mobile
is.
Command
Everybody's
Unit
gonna
went,
believe us,
how
right? When
close
we
that
say we
is
found
to
it, right?
to this
I
area,
mean,
to the
if
Mobile
this
Command
was
Unit for
if this
Northport,
was a
how
plant,
close it
right?
is
If this
right to
was
the
some
tent.
kind of
So,
tactic or
but
whatever,
we're
what
gonna
is
do
the end
now
game
here,
here?
everybody,
Because
what we're
this
gonna
does not
do
look good.
over the next,
It doesn't. Do you think
Massa's
the
working
lawyer was
phones,
like,
our
oh, look,
entire team. I
go
wish
out there
that
and
everybody
plant
could see my
something?
vantage
Like
point here.
what?
We're
No
all
one's gonna
working the
believe that.
phones,
That's why I'm like,
calling everyone we know.
I just don't
trying to
know.
get
Like, no
information.
matter
We are
what way you
equipped
slice
here
it, it
to,
really
of
does
course,
not
handle
make
a story
sense.
like this because
Really,
we're in Florida.
you know?
We're in Tampa Bay. This is the Tampa Bay coverage area. So we know who to contact.
This is our backyard.
We have the Rolodex ready to go. Yeah, it's literally our backyard. And we know a lot of the folks that are actively participating here as far as law enforcement. So we're working the phones, and anything that we can pass along to you here, we are going to. And Masa, you see her eyes looking down? Yeah, she's looking down because she's working the phones right now.
Well, I wanted to let our viewers know that Heather Monahan, she's our digital content producer, a real superstar. She's obviously also working this case for us right now. She has reached out to Josh Taylor, and she said that, acknowledged that we know that Northport is not the lead agency on this case, but she asked if he could provide any kind of comment on the activity at the site of the Brian Laundrie search today. Obviously, she mentioned how the Sarasota County medical examiner said they were called out by Northport PD to the scene. And so Heather is asking for additional information. We just want you to know that we are doing everything on our end to try to get you facts about what's happening here. But so far, all we heard from Northport PD was the search is on, and we'll let you know if there's a significant development. But it does feel like there has been or he didn't say significant development, the words that Josh Taylor from Northport PD had for Allison Henning. He said, if there's anything of note, we're going to let everyone know at the same time. But I would argue, you know, calling the medical examiner is something of note. And that is why we are once again reaching out to the Northport Police Department, trying to understand what more information they can tell us about why they called out the Sarasota County Medical Examiner's Office a short time ago.
Let's, what I'd like to do now is feature some more comments. You can use hashtag HeyJB, you can use hashtag HeyMasa. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to feature more of your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa questions and comments, and a lot of live streams would be going off right now, or we're going to stay with you, and it would be very normal for us in other circumstances to just end this stream and start a new one when Eagle 8 HD is back in the air. We're not going to do that. We're going to stay here with you live on WFLA now while we're waiting for new information to come in, while we're waiting on breaking developments, while we're waiting for Eagle to get back over Myakkahatchee. What we'll do is we'll feature some
Sure,
more of
you
your
said that
questions and
Brian
comments that are
Enton
coming in
says
now
more
using
FBI is
hashtag
coming
HeyJB,
in now.
hashtag
Well,
HeyMasa.
that leads me to
And
believe
if you were
something.
with
And
us
like
on
I
our
said
stream
in the
yesterday, you
beginning,
saw
if
too that
you're
we are
just
also
joining us,
taking
you know,
video questions.
I try
Video
not to be that
questions,
person that
putting
hops
a
on here
face
every
to our
time like,
audience,
oh,
our
Brian
audience
might be
watching,
here, Brian might
really
be there.
from
Like I really tried to shy away
around
from
the
doing
world.
that because
And
it's just
what we're going to do
ridiculous. It
now is we're
causes
going to
everyone to
feature
go in a
some of the video
tizzy,
questions
and
that have
half
been coming in.
all
How you
of
submit
the
a
time
video
so
question.
far
Let
it
me just put
hasn't
this
been
out
him.
there.
So,
You
but the
send
only
it
thing
to
different here
the
is the
WFLA
articles found
JB Facebook
and
page.
the
I can then
you know
take them from
pure
there,
amount of
make sure that they
force
don't
that is
contain
coming
any
in,
inappropriate
including the
language or
coroner.
anything that is way
You
out
know,
there in
and
left field.
as
Make
much
sure
as
that
like
they are
I
good
can't
for
believe this is
stream.
happening, at the
We can
same
take
time
them
I'm
from
kind
there
of
and
like
we can
part of my gut is
feature
kind of
them here
angry, right? Like
on
I
our
want this dude
interactive
found
WFLA
alive,
Now
not
live stream.
deceased, you know.
But let me
He
just
can't
caution
answer
our viewers,
questions.
these questions that we had
He can't
preloaded into our stream
we
for
can't get
today
complete
were
justice if he's
before all of
gone,
these
you know.
developments. So you're
That's
going to be
frustrating to
seeing
me.
video
I
questions come
really
in
want him to be found
from
alive.
likely
I know he needs
yesterday
to be
or
found
early
either
this
way.
morning. So
It'll
we'll
give some
feature the
kind of
first
closure
question.
either
Let me see
way,
the first
but
question
at the back of my
in our
head, I'm just
queue
kind of
as far
angry
as
that
video
this is
questions
happening right
go,
now
and this
because I'm
one
like, is this
comes
dude
in
really gone? Like,
from
we're never
Whitney.
gonna have the
Let's get
how,
to
what, when,
Whitney's
where, why, you
video
know?
comment to the
And that's not good for
WFLA JB Facebook
anybody,
page.
including especially Gabby.
Hey
You know.
JB, my name is Whitney Sitt,
Let's see
and
what's
I'm
up
with the
now.
True Crime Sisters, and we have a Facebook group called Justice for Gabby Petito. My question today is, how do you respond to people who think that the case is already going cold?
So there you have it. I just Masa, do you have your earpiece in? Were you able to hear that?
I did.
Okay,
Listen to
good.
everything.
So
Yeah.
I only chuckle because that's a perfect example of a question that would have been asked yesterday and not today, because this is anything but a cold case here today. But it goes to show, Masa, that Whitney and so many others, and she's part of a group online that that focused on the Justice for Gabby Petito movement, that what a difference 24 hours make.
Right.
Yesterday, talking about this case going cold, here we are today with the medical examiner's office being called here, multiple mobile command units, the articles that have been found here,
Belonging to Brian, yeah.
according to Stephen Bertolino. What a difference 24 hours makes.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to, on this case, very fast, quick developments, and certainly a huge difference in 24 hours. Again, I go back to the fact that law enforcement determined that they were, by their actions, they signaled that they were done with this scene because they opened it back up to the public. And you know, JB, if you're searching a scene, if there is a crime scene, the first thing you do is you put up yellow tape and you make sure that the public doesn't have access to that scene. You don't want people messing with the scene. You don't want people touching potential evidence, altering potential evidence.
That's a really good question. Are there caves at the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park? I don't think I've heard of that. I just Googled it. I didn't see anything come up. I didn't look that hard, but that's a really good question because, you know, in places like that, there usually can be some kind of caves, you know, not the typical caves you think of, because, I mean, it is Florida, but at the same time, you know, who knows? It's a good question, though. I wonder.
Yesterday. And obviously, you see the banner right there on your screen. Medical examiner called to the Laundrie search area, something that we have not seen in this story that really started on September 11th, when Gabby Petito was reported missing by her mother. Then on September 13th, just 2 days after that, Brian Laundrie left to go for a hike. He didn't come home. On September 14th, according to the Laundrie family attorney, the parents went to the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park to look for Brian Laundrie, didn't find him. September 15th, they went back.
So we have Kim S here, who is in Florida, and she says, you know, not too many caves in Florida, but yeah, could be.
Was missing.
Could be.
And up until then,
Oh, this is another great point too that I want to bring up quickly, because I know WFLA ain't going to say this. There are a few people who have said maybe the parents killed him and maybe dropped him off there or something. I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't that be wild? But something tells me that's not the case. But this case has taken so many crazy twists and turns that I don't even know if that would surprise me at this point, you know? But we'll see. Like, what is taking so long to get some kind of, you know, if it was a dead body that wasn't Brian Laundrie, I think they would have told us by now, you know? The fact that they haven't said anything is kind of weird. Now, Katie Beach says, CNN says there were cadaver dogs on the scene. Wow. Oh boy. I think that today's the day, guys. I think it is, you know?
Public, a significant development. Many people, again, reaching out to JB, wondering if this case had gone cold. And today we find out that for the first time in this long, multi-state, multi-agency search, articles belonging to Brian were found. So just wait and see. At this point, JB, I'm going to be with you for another 15 minutes. And my understanding is that our other investigative reporter, Walt Petito, is going to come join you. We're going to have team coverage for you on Channel 8 here in Tampa, Florida, WFLA TV. I'll be on with Allison Henning at 4, 5, and 6. We have our Nico Clemens on this story. And do you know if you want to mute that?
Let me just I'll share exactly what the announcement is to our newsroom. We are very well aware that there's another media outlet reporting that the coroner is at the scene. We're very well aware of the other reporting that is going on. We have not been able to independently ourselves confirm that. When we do, we will pass it along here to you. But to the comment section lighting up saying that this media outlet is reporting this information, I get it, totally get it. But we have to confirm it here ourselves. We have a thorough process. I was asked this question over the weekend as far as the process that we go through to confirm information. And we're going through that process right now. And until we can, report that information, we're just going to not do so. So It's something that's very much on our radar. We know what's happening out there, folks. I'm surrounded by 7 screens for good reason. And when we have that information to share, we will absolutely do so. Let's get to, how about Masa, would you like to get to the next video question?
Whatever you'd like.
Hey, JB. Hey, Josh. My name's Casey. I'm from Boston. I've been following this case since day one. And I know it's relatively impossible for there to be a bunker underneath the house or the shed, considering it's Florida and everything. But I was just wondering, is there a chance they might inspect the possibility?
You want to go first?
Thank
you to Casey for that question. I very much appreciate it because there was a lot of questions about the backyard and about the garden bed and Chris and Roberta Laundrie being seen via drone video, paying a lot of attention to the garden bed there in the backyard. But Masa, if you'd like to go first.
I mean, all I will say is that we observed, I don't have the date in front of me, but September something, the FBI conducting a search of the Laundrie family home. They were going in, they were coming out, they were bringing out evidence from the house. So I would imagine they would have noticed if there was a doorway or, a bunker or anything like that. So my answer to that question is I would not believe that there was any such thing. But thank you so much for your question, Cassie.
All right, folks, getting in some new information. Folks, we are going to be back in 90 seconds. 90 seconds on WFLA Now with a breaking news update. Don't go anywhere.
Ooh, a breaking news update in 90 seconds. You can't do that to us. You can't do that to us in 90 seconds. Guys, what the hell? That's not cool. It's like when somebody tells you, I have a secret, but I can't tell you right now. I hate that. I don't like those surprises. I have a surprise I have a surprise for you, but I can't tell you what it is. Well, guys, I think it's Brian. I do. I think it's Brian, and I think they're just like, crossing their T's, dotting their I's before they say it is, because they can't just say it's him if it's not, because that, this is a big deal. In the other cases that have gone by like this with the whole, oh, there's a body, like they tell you right away there is a body found. It's not Brian Laundrie or whatever. Like the fact that we haven't heard anything, the coroner is there, more and more law. Oh, hold on, let me see what they're saying. Sorry. Oh, nothing, just music. I got a little nervous. I'm like, what is it? So they have a countdown going. At least that's cool. But come on, don't leave us hanging like that. At this point, Gourmet Thursday, Gourmet Thursday says, at this point, I'd be relieved if it's Brian. We do need closure either way. It's just not what we wanted, but hey, you can't always get what you want, I mean, the poor Gabby's family must be like on the edge of their seat right now. Like, they want answers, man, and this is not a good way to get answers. Not at all. Him being deceased. I thought he was too much of a little biatch to off himself, but hey, miracles happen. I don't know. No, none of us have patience right now. I know. All right, I'm gonna put them back on here before I mess it up because I don't want to do that. Okay, what is it?
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
Partial human remains found here in the search area for Brian Laundrie. A senior law enforcement official telling NBC News that what appears to be partial human remains have been found at the Carlton Reserve in an area that was previously underwater. The remains were found near a backpack consistent with items that Brian Laundrie may have used. Again, this breaking news report coming from NBC News. Hey, folks, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now, breaking this news here to a new audience joining us here. Everybody on WFLA Now, we've been live for now. Let's just have the number here right. Last 2 hours and about 15 minutes or so. But yet another significant development. It is news that that is going to be received by so many different people in so many different ways. But it's news that might get us a little bit closer to the answer on what happened to Brian Laundrie. Partial human remains found in the Laundrie search area. We are getting closer to Eagle 8 HD being back in the air and providing us with new images here, new live aerial video that we can bring you. But partial human remains have been found in the Laundrie search area. And Masa,
did JB just burp into the microphone?
The big thing here as well is that in addition to the partial human remains, this backpack that we're now getting information on, the remains were found near a backpack consistent with items that Brian Laundrie may have used.
Yeah, and this is according to reporting from Pete Williams from NBC. So a senior reporter, a very well-sourced reporter, and he has confirmed with a senior law enforcement official that the remains were found near a backpack, as JB just said, consistent with items that Brian Laundrie may have had. So we know from our reporting that Chris and Roberta Laundrie discovered, quote, articles belonging to Brian Laundrie. We weren't able to get any further information from Stephen Bertolino about what those articles may have been. But now we have Pete Williams from NBC talking with a senior law enforcement official and basically reporting that a backpack consistent with items that Brian Laundrie may have had. The backpack has been discovered, and now we are hearing again from NBC that partial human remains have been found in an area that was previously underwater. As you
I'm
heard
gonna
JB
switch over to MSNBC
mentioned-
because clearly they're ahead of the game, which I'm shocked because I thought that WFLA would be in that first. So Sherry, I know you was trying to tell us, you were like MSNBC, let me stop this and share the MSNBC. I already brought it up here. Guys, if it was near his backpack, do you guys think an alligator got him or something? Could be. Or as someone else said in the comments, it's probably a homeless person and they put it there to make us think it's Brian. I don't know. Let's watch MSNBC.
NBC News Now's Dasha Burns for
Let
us
me
there
turn it
on
back
the
on
scene.
here, the
Dasha,
sound.
Thank you so much. And we are staying on this story very closely. We'll bring you any and all new information as we learn it. But first, let's go to a short break.
We'll be right back. Close calls, Aaron, that happened in previous years. In a 2019 blog post, one of the missionaries for this Ohio-based group talks.
We have a lot of employees who are coming forward saying that,
our health in our country was.
Lives were lost on February 14th.
About race norming.
Evening from New Orleans, late military.
Begin with one giant leap forward in.
Make the most of your day with Today.
Of course, why not? Of course they go to a break when I go over them. Anyways, or he chopped off a toe or two. You would think the gator, I don't know much about gators, what they if they leave anything behind. I want to know what kind of remains, like is it a couple bones? Is there any, as sick as this is to discuss, guys, I mean, this is the sad reality, right? Trigger warning. I mean, is there meat on the bones? I mean, like, how long has it been there? How much of it is there? Is it a male? I mean, so many questions still unanswered, right? Why aren't his parents upset? They're probably hiding in their freaking house. Who knows, right? I don't think they're going to come cry on the news or go outside with Molly Golightly and pray. I mean, I doubt it, but, yeah, his parents just happen to come upon it. This is wild, you guys. Now we have to wait for a DNA test. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to wait for some form of something scientific that says it's Brian, right? But I think that if it's near his backpack, I mean, I don't know, man. There's some coroner in-depth questions there, I know. Is there meat on the boats? I know, as sick as that is, but like really, that's what I think about. How long has this been here, right? And it's an area, yes, thank you, Breezy. This is why I love you guys, man. You think of things that I don't articulate. It was an area that was previously underwater, correct? So because of all the rain clearing up and whatnot, they were able to find it apparently. So yes, that's a good point. I'm glad you said that. It was previously underwater, right? Kim says gators. Oh, where did it go? Kim says gators don't eat humans. They have poor eyesight and attack humans thinking they are something else. They will death roll and leave the body at the bottom of the water. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we don't have gators in Boston, so thank you for clearing that up. Thank you. As you can tell in one of my earlier streams, I couldn't tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator because, like, I never had to deal with those things, We don't have those here. And y'all's deer is mad skinny compared to our deer. And I heard that's because you have overpopulation of deer down there. That's what someone told me anyways. How much can a medical examiner do on the spot to identify, assuming they have the DNA already? Yeah, we know that they have his DNA. I don't know what they can do. I think it all depends on what they're working with, right? That's why that's such a huge question right now. What are they working with? How much is there? Is it a male? Things like that. I mean, it must be a male, or I don't think they would come out and talk to us and tell us this stuff. But wow. I really did not think that Brian would be found like this. If it is him, we don't know for sure yet, but I mean, I want to know if these people are 110% sure that's his backpack, right? A lot of backpacks look alike. That's why when I took my child to get a backpack for school,
Brian Laundrie had direct connection to Gabby Petito's death.
That's why when I took my daughter to get a backpack for school, I was like, yo, you get one no one else has, because a lot of them look alike, right? Especially for older people, not kids. But let's see what JB's saying. Hold on.
To know exactly what happened. And I don't know these new developments now. Masa, let me just kind of, we're going to animate these comments. I'm giving everybody another moment here because there's some people that type a little bit slower into their keyboards, or they're writing a very eloquent response, and maybe it's more of a paragraph, but I want to give everybody the opportunity to respond here. There are so many people overwhelmingly that have said to this point that they thought that Brian Laundrie was going to be found alive.
Right.
And we can't say definitively whether or not, with again, partial human remains found in the Laundrie search area. But there are just so many people out there that are probably just sitting back in their chairs and at a loss for words because they were so certain that Brian was going to be found alive. And here we are, and now this news tips the scale a bit as far as whether or not Brian Laundrie is going to be found alive.
He could still be found alive, yep, because there's no identification of anything at this point, but I understand what you're saying, absolutely.
So let's get to some of the questions and comments, and then what we'll do. Actually, the time is 2:00. We have to, I think, swap you out for.
I have to go. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate all of your comments. We hope that you appreciate our reporting. It's now 2:00, so I have to go get ready for our shows on Channel 8 at 4, 5, and 6. We have live team coverage for you, so I do hope you'll tune in, and I'll hand it over to our investigator, Walt Petito. Hi, Walt, my friend.
Well, you guys are going to have to switch seats. I think you're going to have to switch seats.
I really love Walt Petito. I know that Katie Joy Paulson likes to drag him, but this man has done more for my area than I could even. CNN just broke it live. Okay, thank you, Shari. I'm going to go grab it. Hold on.
Everybody, welcome into our stream. 8 on your side, senior investigator Walt Petito. Walt?
Just a surprising development, obviously, because it's sort of, I think by Monday and Tuesday, the headlines had sort of become real sort of, for lack of a better word, fringe type stories. Like people were searching for angles, if you will, and it seemed like the search had died down. And then out of nowhere today, what a development. What do you think, JB?
I'm still processing. I'm just going to be honest. I'm processing all of this. I think that as a journalist, you prepare yourself for different outcomes and different scenarios, and you think about all the ways that it could go. But until it actually happens, it's hard for you to really process just for yourself. I'm very, very much ready to report the information that is coming into the newsroom, very much ready to go live with any developments that occur here. We're equipped to handle the next several hours, Walt. But just as far as how I'm processing all of this, I don't even know if I've had a moment to take a break and just think about this really. But I look forward to sharing some thoughts once we're done with this stream, and I'll try to do so on some other social media channels.
And, it's been exactly 1 month, almost a month and a day since the body was found. And over a month since Gabby Petito was reported missing. She was reported missing on the 11th. And a month and 20 days since Brian Laundrie returned from their trip in the white van, in Gabby Petito's white van. The white van captured on highway surveillance cameras. So and really now it's been July, August, September, almost October, 4 months since they set out on that journey that ended so tragically for Gabby Petito. And at this point, we're waiting, as Masa said, everybody's jumping to the conclusion that we think we know who this is, but we don't know anything yet. And we may not have a definitive answer unless obviously the police release that, or the FBI.
I like WFLA, I do, but they play it so safe.
It possibly comes today.
Like, I kind of like myself a little bit of speculation, Sometimes it gets frustrating. Oh, you're welcome, Deborah. Thank you. I did have another live scheduled for something completely different, but this is my story, man. I am like balls deep in this story, okay? I abandoned the other stream. I just deleted it. Me and Chris Conflict will go live another time, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but
that was previously
this is just wild, man.
The remains were found
I don't believe a part of me is like, okay, it's Brian, he's gone, we're never gonna get answers. And the other part of me is like, I don't even think he's around here. His parents planted this, his parents planted it, his lawyer got in on it. This lines up too perfectly. This isn't even Brian. I really haven't, like JB said, I keep calling him JD. JB said he hasn't processed it yet, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, okay, so which one, what do I believe here? Because it just, the whole parents being involved, finding the item, it's just too if something seems too good to be true.
So many of our live streams, and I
you know what the saying goes, right?
WFLA Walt accounts and people that have
let's see what they're saying.
Really just grappled into this story and just couldn't couldn't miss a stream is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And
right.
for those people, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say as to where are we now as far as justice for Gabby. Let's get to some of the questions, or excuse me, I always say that, but the answers to that question. And we'll start here with Chelsea Cunningham. #KJB, justice will not be served if that is his body that has been found. He needs to answer to what he did to her. Give her family closure. And this is I'm going to share as many of these as I can. Courtney Taylor, #KJB, there is no justice. The family will never have answers now. This is not justice, is one from Courtney. And I'll take one more here from Stacy before we address some of these, and then we'll take more. Stacy Hens, #KJB, #KMasa, I don't feel like any justice is close, especially if he is, in fact, dead. And this justice now, this all goes back to
ain't that the truth,
what
right?
Chris and Roberta knew
Ain't
about
that the
Gabby
truth?
Petito. What
Sherry
did, if anything,
Sherry
Cassie
is my
Laundrie know about Gabby
reporter
Petito?
sidekick.
And there's going to be
Sherry
so many,
Marl, you guys are like, yeah,
many
this one's saying that. I
developments now
appreciate
here
that. I
as
really
far
do,
as,
because it's hard
is
to
there
do that
even-
when I'm
is there
on this
even
side, you know.
partial
So thank you for your help.
justice for
T-Spiracy,
Gabby?
only items
Is there
found. The dog
something
is still
that
looking with 3
can
guys.
occur
I
as
don't
far
think
as
cadaver
down the
dog
line,
has
way
found
down the
body.
line,
Medical
something that
examiner,
feels like justice for Gabby
other
Petito?
sheriff's office.
If,
No body.
again,
The dog
and
is still
it's very
looking.
important to not connect the dots, and we're staying
So it's
rooted
not
in reality here.
So do they
But
have remains or not?
this is based on what our commenters are
Oh
saying
my
here.
God,
While
what
they
is
just
even
don't
happening?
feel
Because
like
WFLA
justice
only
is all
reported
that
that because
close
the other
as far as
news
the justice for Gabby
station
Petito.
did, right? And I
from
thought that
the
was a little
definition
weird.
of
So now I'm
justice,
wondering if
there
it's
is no justice
true.
because
I don't
this
know.
case,
This is the
if
thing with breaking
the
news, man.
body
It
is Brian
just
Laundrie, will
changes.
not be
And it does
adjudicated
feel staged. And it
in
makes
any
me feel a
way.
little
So
angry, to be
I
honest.
agree with that.
It
I will
really
tell you,
does.
if you're looking for, I don't know,
Exactly.
if you're looking for something about what this
Tanka
means down the line,
Bean
the Gabby Petito
Benet
Foundation, people
says
can
this
take
feels
their frustration
staged. Smiling
out
Wolfette
with
says, I think the
donations to
parents
Gabby
planted is
Petito
closed.
Foundation
Nobody
to
has
help
confirmed
other
any
parents
remains.
find other children. And I'm sure that
If
foundation,
exactly, I
from
feel the same
what
way
we've
too.
been told
Katie
of the Petitos
Katie Kaiser
and
says,
Nicole
if this
Schmidt, her
is him, I
mom,
wonder how
I
long
would
he's
bet
been
that
dead. That
foundation
place was
ends up
flooded for a
doing
while.
something about
It was, yep.
domestic abuse, because this
Smiling
starts
Wolfette
with a case
says
of alleged
I'm
domestic
watching Fox
abuse.
and they have not said
You
anything
could
about
say
a
from
body yet.
both.
Yeah,
Gabby
they
admitted
WFLA
hitting
believed
him,
what they heard because it was from a
and there were
respected,
witnesses
well-seasoned
that,
reporter.
that
They said,
saw
remember?
him
So
make
now I bet
contact
you they're
with
kicking
her.
themselves in the ass,
And
and
we
I'm kind
have
of
friends
annoyed
of
at the
hers
moment.
said it
So
was an
let's see if
abusive
they've changed up
relationship.
their
So
tune at all.
all those things. Yeah, I get where the frustration that people have, but at this point, you know, it's really, I think, a lot about the survivors too, the parents, and I would be interested in hearing what they have to say about this, obviously.
Yeah, and I look forward to my next conversation with.
By the way, on that, so not to interrupt JB, on this comment, though, I think we will know more about what truly happened. We'll know a lot more. We'll know who this body is.
So let me get this
point,
straight, just to be clear
maybe
here.
today.
MSNBC is saying they found remains, right?
We will know.
Fox News is saying no, that's not true.
The FBI
that the dogs are still looking.
Will continue.
WFLA was just listening to what MSNBC said. So we still don't know for sure. It appears because
of this particular relationship.
Okay, so Smiling Wolfette says Fox is reporting bones found. Okay, so they're behind.
And there is
okay.
a way, I think.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys trying to help me work this out here because it's a little wild. So they're behind. All right. Thank you. Let me put the volume back on.
And
now.
awareness of other missing children, right? That's
those
come
two.
Out.
That's what I was going to hone in on.
Yeah.
Really, the Gabby Petito Foundation is going to help the families of other missing people, and this is about.
So
the
CNN
saying that. Really,
CNN says nobody
ever
yet.
Since like
And then
days after or immediately
Fox
after,
News
felt
is
like
now
immediately
reporting that
after
they did find something. Okay.
Gabby's remains
All right.
were found.
I just want to make that clear because
that this was all
everybody has
about
different stuff,
preventing
you know.
future tragedy.
This
What
is nuts.
can we do
If it is him, he would have been dead for a
the
while.
Gabby Petito Foundation, that
But
is
do we know that,
their
Brittany?
core
I mean,
mission.
I was thinking about that,
And
right?
yes, they're going to be
He
exploring
would have been
some
dead
of
for
the
a
different
while.
conversations
I
that
don't know.
need to be had.
You think so?
Publicly,
You think so? Because we don't know the state of the remains, right?
But
if so, right?
This right now, this stings. This
He
stings
wasn't.
because
So
I just
Matt
know,
says
and
he
I'll tell you why
wasn't
it stings. It doesn't
old
sting
or
for me.
experienced enough to be
I'm
a
just
survival
thinking
expert.
about all the
Yeah, even his
people
sister
out
said
there
like she thought he would.
that,
She said she
that-
thought
that
anybody
sent
could
me
make it a
so
month,
many
right? And then
countless
he did have
messages
some
that
skill,
Brian Laundrie would be
some,
found,
right?
that
But
he
to
would be
be a
found
survival
alive,
expert, I mean, you
and
guys
that
know Bear
we would
Grylls, like
get
that dude poured his
exact
heart and soul
answers,
into being a
specific
survival
answers as to
expert.
what happened
When I
in the
think of
pursuit of
survival
justice.
expert, I think of
And
Bear
let me
Grylls.
make
I
this
highly
clear.
doubt
Right
Brian
now, we have
Laundrie
what
was
appears to be
anywhere close
partial
to what
human
that dude can
remains
do, right? So
found in the laundry
remains
search
could just
area.
be a
We have
tooth.
the backpack, yes. We have
Oh,
the belongings, the
I know.
articles that were found in the
I
same area.
just
Yes, we
want.
have all of
This
that.
is so like
We don't
nerve-wracking,
know.
not
We can't
knowing the
say
full
right
extent
now
of
that
what they
that
found,
it is in
etc.
fact
You
Brian
know,
Laundrie
but
until we have that information from a
it's
credible
like
news source.
I don't think his
However,
family.
I'm
I don't
just
think
thinking
his
about
family
all
would
those
have been
people
as chill
out
as
there
they
that
were
are
if they thought
just
he was out there dead. This seems like a setup. Planted
at a
those
loss for
clothes and
words
ran.
and
Well,
wanted a different
Tanka,
outcome. Wanted
you
a
know,
different outcome.
yes
And
and no, because
I want to ask those
everybody,
people,
the world hates those people
channel
right now. Like we
your
gotta remember,
efforts,
like
channel your
nobody is
efforts
a
as much
fan
as
of
you
the
can
Laundries at the moment. So
into
for them to
exactly what
come
Walt
out
is
and
talking about, into having those
you know,
conversations,
like
the Gabby
I was
Petito
joking earlier, like
Foundation,
pray with
anything that
Molly
we can
Golightly
do
out
to
in the
help
yard
out
or something. You
missing
know, like I highly doubt that they
or
would
the families
publicly
of missing
display
people in
their
America or around the
frustration
world.
because
I know
they
that
know
our
everyone's
parent
gonna
company,
look at them and go,
Nexstar,
yeah, we
they
don't
have
care.
News
Look what he
Nation.
did to
News
Gabby. Do you know what I
Nation's
mean?
Brian
So
Ensign is a colleague of ours. News Nation,
it's hard
of
to
course,
judge
a
them based
new
on that.
network
In
channel.
my
It's not
opinion,
left,
you
it's
know,
not right, it's
they
down
have
the
a
middle.
body,
We talk
Fox
about News
News.
Nation
Okay,
here.
so they're
But News
calling it a
Nation has
body
launched
now.
a
So it's
Missing
no
in
longer
America
remains.
series.
So it
It
is
is a week.
what
It's
constitutes
us taking
a
exactly
body?
what
Do
you're
you have to
talking
have
about
all
very
the limbs? I
seriously
mean, or
as
remain?
far
You
as
know what I'm saying?
doing
Like
everything that we
some
can
people say remain, some
to
people say
aid
body.
in the
Is
future
there a difference,
the families of missing
etc.?
people to help
How
prevent
much was
future
found?
tragedies.
Is
So
it a
to
male?
everybody out
I want
there
to
that
know if it's a male.
that
Just because the
is in
backpack matches
likely
Brian's
disbelief
doesn't really give me
over
that
this
much faith
news or
because
just
there's a
still
lot of
processing all
backpacks
this
that look
news, let's
similar,
all
right?
keep that in perspective.
A lot,
and
a real
let's
lot.
try to not forget what we're feeling
Okay,
right
let's see.
now. Not forget these moments, because it could help us channel energy towards future solutions to prevent future tragedies. Let's get to some more of the questions and comments that are coming in. Rachel Elizabeth, #HJB. I think this is a step back. If he is found dead, there is no justice. We may never know. But Walt, to your point,
That's interesting.
there's
Hold on.
likely more that the FBI knows that we haven't been privy to that information.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
Walt and
find out
JB.
more.
We don't know
but as-
everything. We can't speculate.
Is it,
God
I mean,
forbid
and
they don't do
let's
that
make
on the
this
real
clear,
news.
too.
I understand that.
I
That's
wanna
why,
point out
you know,
this
we do it here. But
harsh
anyways,
reality.
the parents are
If
just standing
Brian
there,
Laundrie is found or
not
was to
looking
be
upset
found
at all.
alive,
Well, hey,
there is no
that
indication
tells
that we
me
would
they know
ever
their son is
learn the
safe.
truth. How
You know?
many
But
situations
then again,
of
if
a
they did look
high-profile
upset,
nature has somebody been caught
I
for
don't
an
know.
alleged crime, been
Listen, if
convicted
you're a
of
parent,
said
you're a
crime,
parent,
and
right? Even if
never
the world
ever
hates
given
your
the
son,
opposite family
they would
closure
still exhibit some
on
form
what
of
had
form of
transpired to their
emotion,
loved
right?
one. There's
They
so
would,
many people that
if they were out in
that have
public and
been
they
put
found out
behind
this
bars that
news,
just
you would
refuse
think.
to give details or
But the
refuse to
fact
give
that they're not
information and do not want to
appearing to be
concede
upset,
information as to what
and
they
that's their
did
son,
to that
that tells
particular
me that
victim.
okay,
And
they
so
know
even
they have
if
nothing
Brian
to worry
Laundrie was
about.
found,
They know that
even
Brian's
if
safe,
he
right?
was discovered to be alive,
Is that what that means?
it's no guarantee that we
You
ever
know?
know the truth.
They
of
haven't
what
done a
happened to
good
Gabby
job
Petito. He
on
could
anything
invoke his constitutional
acting
right
wise,
to
and I
remain
just
silent,
don't
and he
buy
could
this.
take it to the
I don't
grave.
buy it. I don't buy that his
He could
parents
take it
found
to his
this.
very
I
last
just
breath.
it's
And
too
so
perfect. It lines up too much. You know.
we're not closer to justice.
And what is the justice?
Exactly. Bohemian says,
then you start, if you
does
really,
anyone
dissect
have
what is
any
the
idea
justice?
how
What would
many
the justice
homeless
have
are
been
in
that
Florida? This
he
could
goes
be
to jail, the death penalty.
Could be. If his parents aren't displaying emotion at all,
I've never talked to. I've talked to, sadly, far too
I doubt
many
it, you know.
parents of.
But then again, with the amount of law enforcement pouring in there, somebody's in there. Who it is, we don't really know, but it is super shady, and it's hard to tell because
I know we think
the parents are so freaking weird. You know what I mean?
Or a loved one. I don't know if there really is closure. Does it
You
make
know,
it
his parents
easier
put
for
the stuff out there. I
parents if
really
they
do.
see
I
Brian
just
Laundrie in
don't buy
court?
it.
I
But
guess
then again,
it
if
does.
they did,
But
why
at
would
this
they do
point,
that, you guys?
the tragedy
Why would
is
they do that?
horrifying
Why would the
in
lawyer?
itself,
Because you know, the
and
lawyer's the one that
and this
dropped this information on everybody. Like, oh, they found some of Brian's stuff.
We will
Like,
know more.
why
But I
would
don't know if
they?
we'll ever
If
would have
it is
known
a plant and they did plant it,
because of how this
what do
trip
they gain out of
started
that? Nothing,
with
because it just
smiles
looks even
and,
more
and
shady.
a happy
Like,
couple.
yeah,
and
it
how
causes a
ended. Just
diversion
the
and it causes
exact
everybody to
opposite of
look
that.
this way.
It's a
When
stunner
they're
from day
maybe
one,
should be
really.
looking this
A
way.
bit of breaking news.
That's about all that
We
they would get
talk
out of that,
all
right?
the time
Is a
about
diversion.
how the FBI
Because I'm not
doesn't
buying it.
release updates.
I'm really
That's
not.
their thing. Just not what
I could
they
be
do.
wrong,
They're
though.
the
I'm wrong all
Federal
the
Bureau
time.
of
You know? Who
Investigations,
knows?
and they're not in the business of providing updates.
So here's what,
they're in the business of
guys, I think
announcing results
I'm gonna wait a few more minutes and see if anything else develops.
even,
Then I'll
even
probably
then,
hop off
sometimes
and
those
wait to see if there's
announcements can be
anything
very
else
hollow
like
as far as what we learn
worth,
publicly.
you know,
But the
talking
FBI
about.
just
Because right
tweeted,
now we're kind of just going
and
around in
that's
circles,
significant.
you know.
Let me just.
But I'm kind of
before I
mad
tell
about
you
it.
what they tweeted.
Like, I don't want him
The
to be
fact that
dead.
the FBI is saying something.
No, his
in and of
parents.
itself
Well,
is
we don't.
is a
It doesn't
massive
appear that his
development
parents
because
found
the
him.
FBI
Okay,
hasn't said
it doesn't
anything.
appear. It
The
appears that they
FBI
just
tweeted a
found his
response
items,
team
but
is there
the body
for
parts, the body, the
quote-unquote
remains, whatever you want to
items
call
of
it,
interest
because everybody
at
calls
the
it something
Carlton
different
Reserve.
right now. Were found
Items of
near
interest,
his
and that came
backpack
in
that they
about
said was
4.5 minutes ago.
near his
The
items, right?
FBI
That's
has
about all
used
we
Twitter
know
a
for
lot
sure.
in this case.
I
believe
don't
they broke
think.
the story about the charges.
Yes, they
on
did.
Twitter.
I don't think it
Correct?
was his body.
Very
I doubt
interesting.
it.
And I think I was stunned earlier.
Okay,
I did
thank
a
you,
story
Smiling
involving
Wolf. I
FBI last week,
appreciate it.
but it
All
was the
right, let me
local
play
FBI.
this
We'll
out
get a
till I get
response from
this.
them, but it's usually I cannot confirm nor deny. The Denver
Okay.
FBI must.
Thanks, guys, in
their
the comments.
public
I
information
appreciate your help.
officers
Let's see.
must have been inundated with questions, and they did respond to us earlier. They said they couldn't comment, but I would point out they did point out that a lot of their releases at that point would be on Twitter. And there you go. Items of interest were located at the Carlton Reserve this morning in connection with the search for Brian Laundrie. We just retweeted it, but yeah, and they have it as a news alert from the FBI. So
A response team is there for the items of interest that we've been talking about. And I want to know how these items were discovered. There was talk on social media before you got on stream here, Walt. We had comments on screen, people who were alleging that this was planted, that the information came in.
more breaking news?
No, I'll address this here in a moment.
There's been so many of those. It opens your eyes to the skepticism that's out there. These theories that some of them I would have to say ridiculous. As far as the items being planted, what would be the motive? Did the person express a motive?
So the idea would be, and I know our commenters well enough to say that the idea was that the people were saying everywhere across all platforms. I have it here across my screens. Comments, people were saying that the items, the articles that Stephen Bertolino is referring to could have been planted by Chris and Roberta Laundrie to throw off law enforcement as far as the search for their son Brian. And now that we have these partial, or what appears to be partial, human remains found here, I don't see any comments like that anymore. That it was deliberate, that it was intentional, that it was an intended misdirection. I just don't see anything like that anymore. As we're awaiting some. Walt, I'm going to keep you on the mic here for a second. I have to step away for just a second.
Okay. So let me bring everybody up to date. This morning, the FBI reported that some items of interest were found in the, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. That is right next to Carlton Reserve. I believe they're actually connected, so to speak, or adjacent to each other. We can tell you the size of that park is 160 acres, heavily wooded. So initially, the FBI is talking about finding a backpack with items that seem to be consistent with things that Brian would have. And then now we hear from NBC reporting that human remains were found near the backpack. Also, the family of Brian Laundrie was out there this morning, and the attorney in that case released a statement that I'm going to read to you here in 2 seconds. Stephen Bertolino writing, let me pull it up. Come on. Stephen Bertolino writing, it's not responding. Stephen Bertolino, though, detailed exactly what the parents were doing out there this morning, and then of course now in the early afternoon or late morning, really, I think we broke the story, at least locally, that it seemed like this activity had picked up to a great extent there in Waxahachie River, the River Creek area. Which again, right next to Carlton Reserve, they touch each other. Carlton Reserve, 25,000 square acres, I believe, and this one is 100 or acres, I should say, and this one is 160 acres. So it's dwarfed by the other location, but they end up finding these human remains, we're hearing from NBC, in an area that was wet, not wet anymore.
The fact that the water receded could be the key development that Mother Nature provided what was necessary for this discovery. I think that it's not lost on any of us here in the newsroom, and I just had some conversations here for the first time in more than 2 hours, actually just leaving my chair and having some conversations. It's not lost on anybody that all the news reports that have been coming in and speaking to law enforcement officials and senior law enforcement sources, that they all talk about how this was an area that was underwater at one point.
Right.
The water receding, and it receding to a point where it is no longer.
That's annoying. I mean,
like
I like Walt. He's done a lot for my neck of the woods as far as journalism goes. I'm just frustrated. He's like, well, what would the motive be for the parents to do that? What do you mean?
And I guess
Hello? What do you mean?
Just getting, and we're getting out of our
Have
wet
you not
season, right,
thought about
Florida.
that, Walt?
We are.
Of course, there's a million reasons why they would do that.
And yeah, Mother Nature playing a role. So
they don't really
one
make
thing
much
we will
sense.
find
Like
out,
I
the
said,
big
it doesn't
thing
really
is,
add up
obviously, that
because
we
no
need
one's
to
going to
know,
frickin'
we will
believe it
find out
anyways. But
eventually from police.
CNN
Do they
TV
believe
neither
that
says
these
body, only
remains are
dog
Brian
found
Laundrie's right now?
backpack.
We only
Remember
know
Brian and
the
his dad
proximity
hiked
of the
together a
remains
lot.
found
So
near a
Brian could have
backpack
told his
that
dad
had items that
where he would
be
dump the backpack.
That
Could have.
might have been Brian Laundrie's. The parents were out there to possibly identify
items
those
and interests were located.
But
No further
one thing
details
we
are
will find out after
available.
we find out who these remains are. We'll also find out
Brian
a
could
theory
have,
about
let's
how
see
long
what
the
Mama
remains have
Bear
been there.
says.
And that's
Brian
going
could have
to be
cut
very
off a
interesting,
finger or
right?
something. He
Because,
didn't really need to
time of
try to
death,
make
they
it
were
look
able
like
to
the
nail
Gators got him.
down
Then
Gabby
he's
Petito's
free to
time of death, it
disappear, or maybe
seems,
karma got him
to what
quickly.
amounts to a
Maybe
2 or 3
maybe
day
or just
period.
maybe they want to keep
Sometime
they
between the
want to keep
27th
people
when she
looking
sent
at the
that,
Maya
quote,
Hatchie Reserve,
odd
right?
text to her mother about Stan,
You know,
and the 30th when Brian
Birdie,
Laundrie,
you're funny.
according to the FBI, started using what we now know is Gabby Petito's debit card.
Here's the thing,
so
right?
if they're
Here's
able
this
to do
comment.
that, I think the same thing will happen here. We'll know.
Blake
have
Blake
some
says, Jay Blake
knowledge
says,
about the
Brian
theory
Laundrie's
about
not as
when
clever as the
this,
FBI, surely.
these
Well,
remains,
you know, Jay Blake
perished.
he's gotten away this long.
We all
You
want
know,
answers.
he definitely fooled the
We're
North
about
Port
to get
police. I'll
more
tell you that
answers,
much.
at least
Those people
visually.
will never live that down,
Eagle
no matter
ADHD,
what.
back in the air.
Oh, here's Eagle
heading
Eagle
to the
Eye in the
scene.
sky. Let's see what they
Folks,
see.
let me explain how this is going to work, because we do have to reset as far as our live stream here on WFLA Now. So let me explain how this is going to work. YouTube, we're not going anywhere. WFLA.com, we're not going anywhere. We're staying live. The WFLA app, if you're watching on the WFLA app, we're not going anywhere. To our Facebook audience, we are ending a stream here. We're ending the current live stream. We have to do that. There's reasons why we end in certain places, begin in others, and there's folks way smarter than myself that understand the purposes behind that. But it's always about engaging an audience and as many people as possible, so that as many people can find our streams. And we are going to be, in a moment, concluding our stream just for a period of time of a few minutes. We're going to be ending the stream on Facebook for Eagle 8HD's arrival here at Waxahachie. We're going to have new crystal clear images to show you what is going on with all the mobile command units that
JD
have
talks
descended
at
there
all
on
times,
Waxahachie.
at all
What is
times,
going
like
on
he's
with
on the
that
verge
tent,
of
that
like
area,
the most
with the
important
tent
breaking
that has
news
been
you've
erected
ever
and
heard.
set up there,
Like every
likely
sentence
in
he
the
talks,
area
he's
where
like,
something was found.
We
We're
are
gonna
going to
find
be
out a
going
whole
not
lot
live on
more visually
Facebook.
from Eagle 8
Okay.
HD.
Okay,
But
does it
on
10-4? Does everyone
Facebook
understand
here,
that?
folks, we have to
He's
reset.
so
We're gonna be stepping
serious.
away
Oh,
for
I
a
don't know
portion
why
of
I'm
10
laughing
minutes.
at that. But anyways,
10 minutes to our WFLA.com
let's see what
and
Sweet
WFLA app audience. 10
B
minutes.
says.
We're
There
stepping
wouldn't
away
be a
to our
tent set
YouTube
up. I know.
audience.
When I
We're
heard
stepping away
tent,
for
I
just
thought
10
back
minutes.
to
The stream
Gabby,
doesn't
right?
end on
I thought
YouTube.
back
It
to the
only
Gabby
ends,
tent, right? It
like, the
says
actual
there
stream
wouldn't be a
itself
tent set
ends
up
on
if there
Facebook.
wasn't a
But we're
body.
back up
It
on
keeps the
Facebook
crime scene
in 10-minute
obscured from the
time,
public news
roughly,
stations and
with the
airplanes.
update with
Thank
Eagle
you,
8
Sweet
HD's
B.
arrival.
Very
So,
good
folks,
point.
we're going to stay here with you from Eagle 8 HD.
If my son
Wallace
was
and I are
found,
gonna
I'd be
stepping
there,
away.
says Sherry.
We're
Yep.
staying live on YouTube, on
You would think.
WFLA.com, the WFLA app, but we are going to be saying farewell to this Facebook audience to introduce you to a new Facebook live stream here within the next 10 minutes. Whatever Facebook page that you are watching on
Sorry,
right
they're
now,
not even
for our
talking. I
Facebook
turned them
audience
back on, but
specifically,
I didn't hear
we'll be
anything.
live here with an additional stream here momentarily. But you can
This
also
has made
always
his
find
career.
us
You're right.
on the WFLA
I had no
Facebook page
idea.
or the WFLA
You know, I'm from Massachusetts. I
JB
had no
Facebook
idea
page.
who
We're live
JB
in those
was.
two
I
places,
definitely know Walt
and we'll
Buteau. He used to
back here
be
live in about
huge in
10
Rhode Island,
minutes
and I am the
here
next state
on
over.
WFLA.
And I was really, you know, what's weird? When I first heard Walt Buteau next to JB, I was like, that guy sounds like Joe Rogan. Like, he has the same kind of voice, right? And then I was like, Walt Buteau, I know that dude. What is he doing in Florida? Because I grew up watching him, literally. But yeah, it definitely made his career for sure. Jennifer says, if it turns out to be nothing but items that conveniently the parents found, I wonder if the parents could be charged with obstruction then. I don't know how I feel about these parents anymore. Like, part of me is like, I understood why people protest outside their house in the beginning. Now it's just like futile, and they're never going to come out. They're never going to talk. It's never going to change anything. As much as I wish it would, it doesn't, you know? So, all right, they're offline. I don't think we know much of anything else at this point besides what we've all heard a million times repeated on circles. And as much as I love to repeat myself, because that's what, you know, that's what people in my real life tell me, I won't do it here with you guys. I'll try not to anyways. If anything else changes, I'll hop back on in an instant. I will stay tuned unless I'm getting my kid off the bus, but I'll be back at some point when something else, some kind of information comes out, okay guys? But anyways, I appreciate you showing up. Sorry about my other stream, but this story is so important to me, and yeah. Shermar says, I think if there isn't a body of Brian's, I'm convinced the parents planted into me, that would put them in jail. I would hope so, right? All right, guys. KJP, oh god. Give us strength. All right, I'll see you guys later. Love you long time. I am leaving you because I don't like repeating myself. It's like awkward, you know? I don't know. It feels weird, but I'll be back later if anything changes. Thanks for coming. Talk to you soon. Bye.